Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock, the 23rd of September 2019. We're going to go over the 7 big coins that trade on BitMEX today, and we're going to go and set some profit targets in this episode. So if those kind of things are interesting to you, this episode will be right up your alley. Let's start off by taking a quick look at the disclaimer. It's not trading advice, even though we're talking about specifics in the markets. It's just market observation, kind of my own trading journal. Let's jump in, abruptly stop the music, and I need to double check to be sure that this stream setup is working properly. This is still new to me, and sometimes the chat doesn't work the way it should. And so the chat box on the side of the screen should be showing up over here. And I'm not seeing it do its thing here. Refresh this. There we go. All right, so we're starting off. We're going to jump our way through Cardano to start off with. I want to jump through these quickly so that we can come back to the other details at the end of the live stream. Any kind of requests that you have, you can let me know at the end of the live stream. And so instead of looking at these on the BitMEX charts that are futures charts and only include a little bit of data until that futures contract, runs out here. ADA, I'm looking at the, not the perpetual contract, I'm looking at the futures contract. I'm going to go over to Binance charts. And from the Binance charts, I want to look at a longer term perspective of where these alts could be going. So I want to start off with a 12-hour view and drag this back and take a look at these charts as we go along. This seems to be going incredibly slowly here today. What do I have open that I could close? That wasn't a good idea. I am heading my way back to YouTube, which I just closed, so that I can come to our chat and follow along with it as we're going. My apologies. All right. Now I see where we are. So what we're looking at in this long-term chart, I'll clear this off and start again, is the fact that we've come down for such a huge long time. I do believe the alts are going to make their way back up in stages, but probably not going to be a full bull run that we can just identify a whole straight line right to the top. It's going to go up in waves and then pull back and come up in waves and pull back. And so I want to set some targets and take some screenshots and put them onto Twitter here today so that we can look at just the range of prices from the last bull back here in April, the very end of March, pretty much for all these coins. It's going to be the end of March when Bitcoin dominance switched and we had top formations here all the way back until now. And what I'm looking for are 2 different levels, is the 50% level of this move and the 38.2 of this move. And those are where I'm looking for our alts to go to from these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations. So they're making a 1, 2, 3 and they're breaking out above it now. In this longer time frame, we're just starting to get to an actual change of direction in the market. No guarantees on that yet, because we could go sideways for months. That's an option. It could come up a little bit and then continue back down. Those are options. And the only way we can tell is if we have a 1, 2, 3 formation somewhere along the line. Wherever we're coming up to support and resistance from the past, I'll be watching for a 1, 2, 3 top formation. And if the 4-hour exponential moving averages cross over after a 1, 2, 3 top formation, I will unwind part of my positions that I've been putting on as we're setting up in these bottom formations. So that's the reality. That's what I'm actually looking for. And then my projections are just where I'm going to be looking for it, where I'll be more aware of it. And so as we go back to these 50% levels now, it just matches up with technical support and resistance levels. And it's crazy. This one may be a little bit high, actually. Just because of the support and resistance from the past, this may be the target for the first wave. And so I'm looking for wave up to here and a pullback and a wave up to here. This pullback here I'm calling Nitro Corner. I just made it up. Nitro Corner. This is the corner on which we will put Nitro. Until then, it's just easy turning around this sharp corner. Easy turning around the sharp corner with a small position. It comes up here. We still don't freak out. If it comes back here and the 4-hour exponential moving average crosses over, it may be too deep of a pullback, and it may be that we're going to continue down from there. And so I'll pay attention. But if it consolidates and builds up, these are the two spots we're looking for. And so you can decide on how you're going to exit on something like this. And it's a point of conversation in our Discord chat. If you're interested in conversing about these kind of things, come over to our Discord chat. There's a link in the description down below. We've got an idea. Some people say I should be taking profit here and taking profit here, and then getting back in here, and taking profit here and taking profit here. And so you would enter your positions. Let me color this green. And then you would take your positions off on this way. You would enter your position here and you take your profits off on that way. If this is the way you, hey, no Jack, low Jack, good to have you along. If this is the way you do your trades, put it in the chat for me. It's a small chat. I'd like to grow it. And the only way to grow it is to get something valuable for you. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself here, and I could do that without doing a live stream. So let me know, is this the way you set up your trades? Is this the way you think about setting up your trades? Buy here, sell to take some profit, and then get back in on the dip and sell to take some profit. So let me know in the chat, yes or no, is this generally the way you like to set up your trades? Damn, I didn't mean to clear that. Let's see how much I can get back. Good. Awesome. Now what I want to do is tweet this out. Tweet. Do you take profits this way? So I'm curious. Maybe there's lots of lag. Let me know in the chat. Do you set up your profits this way? Do you plan out your profits this way? Then the other alternative is a lot slower. Where'd that come up to? Here, and then back, and then up to the 50% level. And then we'll have to reevaluate, of course, all the way along. And this gives us Nitro Corner. What is bleeping? And does that go on to the... So the second way you could do it is to purchase a bit of your position here. And then add on to your position here. So this would be your second buy on this spot. And then you're waiting for the longer term top formation. And you just continually move your stops up one half or one. You could move your stops up as the market makes a bottom. Every time you just keep moving your stops up underneath it and let the market tell you when you're going to get out. Is this the way you trade? Mostly as an accumulator. So as an accumulator, where do you sell? because we only really want to hold this stuff. Anyway, we only want to hold this stuff when it's going up. Unless you can short it, then you want to hold it when it's going down in a short position. So if you're an accumulator, you have to, it's like saying in a pilot, I'm the takeoff pilot. I do all the takeoffs. But there has to be a landing sometime. There has to be a place where you're taking profit. And how you put on the trade and take off your profits sort of has to be planned in advance before the style of market that you're getting into as well. Because if we're in a choppy market that's going sideways, then there's different strategies for it. I think strategy number 1 would be best, where you put on your trade and you take it off as the price is going in your direction. You take your profits as you go. So you start off big and you get smaller as the prices go in your direction. But if it's trending, you want to start off your position and you want to add onto it big as the trend is getting going. And then you want to hold and wait till the trend is finished to get out. So there's different strategies depending on the market, depending on what we're coming into. And we don't know if we're coming into choppy for months going sideways, and we've done that before, or if we are building up into a trend. So there's no way to know either way. And so what I wanted to do today was to make up some general ideas, a strategy for taking those profits and knowing when you're going to be watching for that. These are the 2 different targets, and then there's different strategies for putting on your trade and managing the size of your trade as you're going along. Those are some things that I get into much more detail in the course over on IntroToCryptos.ca. So let's go through. I want to do each one of these quickly to give an idea. And I'm on Binance. BTC. This has so little history in it. That's annoying. And maybe it's because the coin has so little history. And so there's not an easy way to do this, except that I am looking from March until now for these estimations. Looking for this to be the high of the recent move. This is the low of the recent move. So I'm looking for things that are going to be hitting the 50% level. And what are they going to do on their way up to that level? So from this beautiful formation here, it's got to stop up in this range, right? If you look to the side of the market, you can see the support and resistance in the distance. And that's the kind of idea that I'm looking for here. So I'll be watching for a 1, 2, 3 here on what I call Nitro Corner. And I want to identify all of those corners like a rally car driver's partner would have all of the corners identified way in advance. And he's going to tell you to slow down for 80 kilometers on this corner, have a small position on here. And he's going to tell you when the straight stretch is coming ahead of time so that you know when to be speeding up as you're coming out of that corner. You know when you're going to be adding on to it. So I want to tweet this out. Wrong button. And I want to say, looking for Nitro Corner. Done. So now on the 4-hour cross. So you're exiting on the 4-hour cross. I don't have the spreadsheet open right now, but I have a spreadsheet of all of the back testing from the previous bull markets where you could see where these exponential moving averages are crossing and when they are uncrossing. And if you do the back testing and you see when you would have gotten in and when you would have gotten out by using this trading plan, going through the back testing markets, you get some really good ideas about when you should be adding on to these and when you should be unwinding the positions. And I've seen it in the past, saw it coming, did it wrong because I believed in my own opinion more than the chart pattern. And then I go back and I look at my opinion versus the chart pattern, and I'm getting better at just forgetting my opinion and going by what the chart pattern is telling me. EOS, let's see what the chart pattern is saying here. And I love this chart pattern. I was a big fan of it back here. You can see some remnants in the chart still hanging on. from where we traded the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here. As this happened in December, it was a perfect time. Everything was turning around. It was phenomenal. Caught this one, added on to it, did some great trades, got out at that top formations, but didn't go short and didn't even think it was going to go down this far. Especially when we had this consolidation here, I was thinking, here comes the moon. And then we had the classic pissing off the roof pattern. I like it more. These failed 1, 2, 3s followed by a pissing off the roof pattern. Just phenomenal. Now we have the 1, 2, 3 formation here, and I want to do the same process now from the end of March. Wrong button. From the end of March until now. And then I want to draw out the support and resistance. Where is it? So we got to have a hesitation here. Don't gotta, but expecting it at support and resistance levels. After here, my future forecasting sort of gets blurry. The crystal ball gets foggy. Wrong one. So what I'm looking for here again is Nitro corner. And this one isn't as easy for me. I don't like this chart pattern. I don't like this bottom formation. I didn't like it all the way along. I didn't trade it. It took off without me. I just didn't like it. So theoretically, even still, I still don't like that pattern. I still want it to come back more and give me a deeper 1, 2, 3. But it is where it is. So these are the two places I'll be looking for Nitro corner on this chart pattern. So let's tweet that out, and I'll collect these up in a post and see how these turn out over time. So not my ideal bottom. Ethereum. I was super gung-ho on Ethereum. Why is that all the data that I have? And it's okay. I don't need any more data than that. Because what we're looking for is that run from March until now. And then we'll take care of it after that. If it comes up to these levels, it's who knows? But I think it'll fight for a while. There'll be an extended time at these levels. And maybe this is all it's going to take for Bitcoin to come down and to be crashing back up, and the alts will do this faster than I'm drawing it here. I don't like it. I wouldn't be trading it on a breakout above this with a very big position. I'd have to start off small. So though I'm drawing this out on the chart, I'm not liking it. I want it to come back and retest already before coming up to the 50% level. It's not my favorite chart at all, just in the layout of it. So when you're looking at somebody's technical analysis, it's not the same as trading at all. So I'll write this out there and I'll do this screenshot, but it's different than the others, that it's pulling back and easing up. Like there's a lot more sideways in my mind for this. We'll see what the indicators tell us as we go through the episode. So I've got this stuck on Cardano along the side here. Needs more viewers. I bet TAs will get massive views again after things have already pumped. I believe you as well. That's when the crowd gets into it afterwards. So that's okay. I can't do it for the crowds. I got to do it for my own trading. It's got to benefit me. And if it benefits me, I'm figuring that putting it out here, it's going to help other people as well. It's my hope anyway. And then if I can put it into a book format, then it's something that can last even longer than I do. Like plastic, ideas last. So again, not as bullish on ETH from here, but the trend should follow. after some sideways fighting. We don't know. There's no way to know the future. There's no way to know all of the different variables that go on into these markets. At the same time, the 1, 2, 3 formation tells it to you. We traded this little tiny 1, 2, 3 because everything was there was major divergences in all of the indicators right here. The RSI was diverging, the MACD was diverging. It was looking bullish. It was awesome. And we took a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation out of this, and we talked about adding on to it here. But by the time it was getting up into these ranges, I was looking for short signals. Right in here, I was looking for a short signal. I said, oh my, look at this. It's going to be coming back. It's got to do that for this. And off it went and off it went. So by following these exponential moving averages and giving it the time, stay in the market until those exponential moving averages cross over, it stops you from freaking out on these kind of moves. It gives you the elasticity in this market to stay in for the whole move, and then you really get out at the right time. So now that it's crossed over, it's huge. It's massive. You just can't ignore it. And so long as it stays crossed positive, we got to stay on the belief that it's going up somewhere. Now, if the past is any indicator of the future, then this is probably going to, like Ethereum, I figure, it's going to fight a little bit sideways, maybe go backwards, but maybe I'm wrong on that. And then we'll have our next stage up, and it'll fight, and it'll have the next stage up. So let me clear this off and do that same thing from March. This was much greater range, it seems to me, like percentage-wise, a much bigger move. And so for it to get back up to the 50% level, it really looks like somebody else drew this into the charts ahead of time, knowing. It is amazing to me sometimes. This technical analysis is so right on. After the fact, you go back and look at it, and you can just start recognizing the patterns. So just like Ethereum, I think this is going to fight for a while sideways. It's made a pretty big move, so I would anticipate it's going to fight sideways. But we'll see what our indicators are telling us. So this is my Nitro corner again, and I want to know where this is on every stretch of road. I want to be ready for it as it's consolidating here, and it'll look like a wicked top formation. It looks like it's just about to die right at the very last minute, and then off it goes. And I want to be prepared for that as well. And so let's do some Litecoin tweet. Will we see the same velocity? Spelling in real time. And TRX is actually one of my favorite. It did such a beautiful chart pattern back here. You can see the buy signal is still on the chart. And our exit signal was right here, but it was on the 4-hour time frame, so we got out just a bit earlier. It's just like a perfect chart pattern that this goes into trends. And so that it's doing this trend and making a bottom formation out of the end of the trend, it doesn't mean it's going to go up. It does mean that it's changing direction, but it could go sideways. And we really don't want to get into a sideways market and hold on to something hoping it's going up while we're watching other things go up. We do want to wait for that confirmation so that we know it's changing direction, for a positive direction. But now is the time to be watching, and you could be feathering in with very small bits of a position. Again, there's that continuous, never-ending conversation between the short-term trades and the long-term trades. Should I buy a big position and sell it out as I go up? Or should I buy a little position and add on to it on the trend going? It's a never-ending conundrum. But what I want to identify is where is this 50% level and how does it come up against old history? I made such a mess in this chart. 50% level right at support and resistance. Look at that. Beautiful. And so if this does come up to these levels and consolidate, that will be our nitro corner. For the way I want to trade this, I want to do as little work as possible. And I don't want to jump in and out. I want to put on a small bit of my position. This is my prejudice, and this is a killer when the market is chopping sideways. This doesn't work at all. And if I try to force this into a market that's chopping sideways, I lose money. And so those are some things that you need to know ahead of time if you're thinking of this strategy. Now let me do the screenshot and tweet this out to say one of my favorite markets. It's one of my favorite for potential percentage return because it's so little Satoshi. 170 Satoshi, and it goes up to 400. You know, it's insane potential profit gains. You do 10 times long on that. Out of these kind of crazy bottoms, it's the time to be starting at least a little bit of risk, and you can add on to it when you're correct and you have a little bit of cushion added on underneath you. It's the time. And if everybody else all jumps in afterwards, and they will, it's okay. Ripple is getting a whole bunch of press, and I still am out to lunch on this. I really don't know. But if it's moving trillions of dollars of world value, do they have a mechanism in place that is going to keep that price stable so that the banks are able to use it without having to think about it? Or is it going to make the price go from, what is it now, 20 cents per coin, up to $2 a coin, up to $20 a coin, up to $200 a coin, up to $2,000 a coin? If that's the case, then it's really good idea to have $10 of this put away somewhere. Put it onto a hardware wallet or something. It's a really good idea. And you say, oh, that's crazy. It could never do that. I'm certain that people said that Bitcoin would never do it too. And I say this over and over again, but it's the old adage, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And Bitcoin fooled me. I didn't buy it in 2011, put $10 into it in 2011. It's crazy what kind of returns you've got. But the trick is you've got to sit on it. So let's take a look at these returns and see if prices do come back up to these 50% levels. That's a big move. It's made a big move in this period of time here. Let me tweet this out. And I can collect these up afterwards, and then I can get into the meat of the live stream. I apologize for this taking on, but I think it's good to bookmark or benchmark this stuff right now. Will Ripple become a high value coin, or will the price be controlled? Like, do they have a whole bunch of pre-mine that they could sell into the market at any time to control what the price is? Oh yes, they do. So this is kind of the detail about this that gets me, but I don't know enough about all of them. All I want to know is the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and get out when the trend changes. I didn't have to know anything about Ripple to know that that is a top formation right here. I didn't have to know anything about Ripple, the technology, to know that that exponential moving average crossed over right there. And even though it looked like these were building up to go higher, there's no question that these are 3 exhaustion candles and that they turned into a pissing off the roof formation. Perfect. A failed 1, 2, 3 breakout turned into a pissing off the roof formation. So these are things to be watching for as the prices are going up from now. As soon as they're getting up to those kind of tops, we're seeing these exhaustion candles, we'll be watching. Pardon me. I missed my mute button. All right, so that gives us a string of tweets that goes through all of the coins to see what they are doing for their long-term detail. And that's a good benchmark. We can come back to that in months of time and see how it actually turned out. But just out of curiosity, I want to go and take a look at Bitcoin price right now. It really is looking like it's failing out of this. I've got a short position going on and my stop is below my entry. So if it does a big crash down, I'll quickly move my stop below it and see where it ends up. And while that's happening, I think the alts are going to pump. Wrong chart. And here's Bitcoin dominance, making a top formation. If Bitcoin is doing, I don't care which direction Bitcoin is going, but if the Bitcoin dominance breaks below these levels, as our alts are making bottom formations, get ready for all those chart patterns that I just drew out to manifest over the next couple months. And I want to document it in this way that I'm coming in here on a regular basis and we are marking out what is the RSI doing, at least on the 4-hour time frame. What is the on balance volume doing, at least on a 4-hour time frame, to see what we should be doing for managing that trade or watching for our nitro corner to build up. For me, this is a mini nitro corner right now. That we've come to this position. We've got a double bottom. We had all sorts of great divergences. We have our little 1, 2, 3 here. It's come up and it's consolidated again. If it's making a 1, 2, 3 and breaking higher from those levels, that is a buy signal. And what I'm looking for here today is some confirmation from our indicators as this is breaking above these levels that I want them to show me that they are confirming that that is a buy signal. And if not, then it's going to be coming back from these levels right off this clear trend line. And I want to document what these indicators are doing right now so that other markets that are not quite up to this, we get some better insights. The more data we have, the more we can understand how these 1, 2, 3 formations work. So I didn't comment much on the relative strength index, but this is looking wonderful to confirm this breakout from these levels. That the MACD indicator is coming up to cross on the 4-hour time frame is really good for the bulls. Not so good on the 12-hour time frame that it still crossed negative. So that is kind of a mix up of signals. On the daily time frame, it's still looking good. Oh, I'm back on BitMEX. I'll do that later. I'm going to compare, but the 4-hour time frame is just coming up to cross. Very good. And the 1-hour time frame has already crossed positive, but it's also weakening off right now. So I was expecting that this would be flaring positive. It'll have to be flaring positive when this breaks out higher. So we're getting some specifics to be watching. But if this flares and crosses negative as the prices are breaking these levels, that's much more bearish, and I would be hesitating on this, maybe even moving my stop up if I'm long on this. But I'm anticipating this should be going up. We have 3 lower lows. I'm anticipating it should be going up, and this is not cooperating with me here yet. This is not yet cooperating. It's not crossed positive yet. So maybe later after the live stream's done and the prices are making a decision one way or another here, this will unfold as that happens. We'll see what that's telling us. If this is crossing positive on the short-term time frame as we're coming up and the 1-hour crosses positive, that should confirm the 4-hour and maybe even get the 12-hour to cross back positive if prices are breaking above. Yeah, see, I'm looking at this little wee detail here. Probably a little bit too zoomed in. Maybe you need to wait for it to come right up to these levels and cross before this 12-hour will cross over. Now ADA on the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. It's coming into the cloud. This is negative. that we have the crossover here. This is negative, that this has come through everything. We do not have a cross to the negative yet, and it's not poked yet below the cloud. And so it really, if it stays inside the cloud and then comes out, this would be a buy signal in an uptrend for the Ichimoku. And this would confirm it for us if we are exiting out of the top of this cloud. It would give us an earlier confirmation, I think, than the 12-hour MACD here. So let's zoom into the 1 hour time frame. Not good, not positive yet. It would maybe confirm this is positive, but we have to have a twist. This has got a lot of work to do to turn into a positive now. And it could, right? But it wouldn't turn positive until it's actually breaking above these levels. Really forcing it to build structure above these levels right now. So the bull in me wants to see that this is the trend up and it's going to bounce off here and create a 1, 2, 3. But the charts are telling me to wait until it creates that 1, 2, 3. Right? Everything is not in line with me. So that's what I'm doing this for. All right. Doom. Bitcoin Cash. So I can change the scene. I think I'll make these drastically different colors when we are changing the scene this way, so that they stand out and you're scanning through the thing afterwards. Let's go back to Binance, BCH, ABC, clear off the mess, and go to a longer term time frame. This is kind of what I'm looking for. The RSI divergence, while this is stepping up out of a larger, sort of a double, triple bottom here, building the 1, 2, 3. For me, this is looking like it's like somebody squeezing it. It's just going to pop straight up. But it's been really following. Okay, here it's going against Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going up. So should Bitcoin break, maybe this will pump. This is confirming it. Now let's zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour time frame. I want to observe how this is crossing the midline. If it crosses the midline as we're going, then we're on our way up. And that'll tell us. And I didn't look at ADA this way. That's okay. So the reason I bring this up is to look at the comparative buying volume. As we are breaking out, it's got to go with volume. You got to have your chart formation along with volume in order to have everything work properly. So on the 12-hour time frame, our exponential moving average is crossed. We have our 1, 2, 3s all setting up. A break above these levels would be a signal, and then you have to decide. You don't want to do a market order and FOMO into this as it's breaking out. That's the worst time to be doing this kind of trade, as it's breaking out and everybody else is doing something. It's the worst time. If you know about this ahead of time, you've got to plan to get into that trade so it's going to be the least costly for you. I want to zoom in on the closer time frame, and that's what I'm looking for. On the close time frame is that right on the front edge we have some positive volume, please. Here's some negative volume going on. So we had a good bunch here, but it's been mostly selling through this. On the 1-hour time frame, on the 15-minute time frame, we had a big swath of selling here, but it bounced back up on not very much buying. So if this flips positive as we're breaking up, it may not take very much to do it. Let's go on to the next chart for BCH ABC. Clear this off. Step out to a longer term view. And the first thing I see makes me hear that theme song in my head, do 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 when you fail. This is crossed over to the negative, right where I'm expecting it to all be crossing positive and all looking good right here. It's not. And that's on the 12-hour time frame. That's an important one. I want that one to be trending upwards, split wide all the way through this, not crossing back and forth. Like this. That's how I want it to be through that whole uptrend, and it isn't. So let's zoom in on the 4-hour time frame. This is okay that it is wobbling. and then crossing and going positive. I guess I have to go and look at the longer term time frame, the daily and the weekly. So the weekly is just coming to cross, actually. This is such a new coin. The daily is doing that slow trickle positive and staying crossed positive. So, okay, I can give some room for the 12-hour to be a slacker and to be crossing over, but it's got to wake up. It's got a lot of room. It can go to the upside and it can cross fast. So I'll have to pay attention to that. Let's zoom into the closer time frames to see if they give us any more lovin'. This one does, the 4-hour does, it's crossing positive. The 1 hour does, it's already crossed positive on the 1, 2, 3. Nice, nice, nice. So this is good. One-hour time frame. I'm liking it. The 15-minute time frame gets less important, but as this crosses positive and breaks these levels, then we can go back and confirm that the 1 hour is still positive. The 4-hour would cross and be fanning positive like this here as we're breaking out higher and we know we're good. And the 12-hour would probably be recrossing and going up on a pretty quick move. I do believe we are setting up for a pretty quick move from what we're seeing all building up here. I'm in. I'm going to go grab a glass of water. I'll hang out for a second here. All right, BCH, ABC, you are doing good here. Let's go to Binance, BCH, ABC. 1 hour Ichimoku is doing better than the others. What's the 12-hour say? Wow. Okay, so this is really rocking it. What was? We just looked at ADA and it was nowhere near stepping up like this. The 12 hours looking phenomenal. As we're zooming in, I got to clear that off. 12-hour is up above. Zoom into the 4-hour. It is up above, but it's in the cloud like ADA was, and that it could be a buy signal in an uptrend. If it comes up out of this cloud, the blue line crosses above the red. This would confirm with our larger formation. But it's not above the cloud yet, actually. I'm surprised. The 1 hour is just moving up above it now, just starting to give us that buy signal. And the 15-minute time frame I expect is above the cloud. So this is more definitive, a bull signal. And I would expect this is going to give us a straight up candle in the next little while. From the build up that is taken, how long is this? Let me do that. Shift, click, and drag it over. 72 days. Sideways channel. And this is one of the filters actually I was talking about earlier that we want to have in our trading plans so that we don't get stuck into sideways markets, but we're waiting for it to actually make a decision and take a direction. And then we would trade that market. Until then, we want our money in a market that is going to be going somewhere through this whole period of time, like gold and silver. It doesn't always have to be alts, and it really shouldn't always be alts. Let's continue on now. Let's do EOS on the 3-hour, on the 3-month view. Clear this stuff off. The relative strength index on this time frame is supporting more bullish action off of this level. Now that it has bounced off of this mid-level, that supports a longer term move up. So long as that RSI stays above those levels. That it bounced off here is good. It can do anything below, and that's all good. it's nice because the price has moved back a little bit, but the RSI has pulled back a great deal, which gives it a whole bunch more room for the next run up before it gets into overbought territory. And it probably will be hitting these levels by the time it makes the next wave. And we probably already looked at that at the beginning. Oh, now we're on EOS. EOS. The volume isn't as pretty. Just take a quick look at this. The volume is easing off on this end. And as we zoom in on this and I go to the 1 hour time frame, there's the volume. So it's already starting to show as the prices are going up, it's getting confirming volume going along with it. So those are good, really good. A break above these levels is looking possible, and you could be if you're not in, you could be staging in a little bit of your trade, knowing that you want to wait till it gets above these levels, and then you can add on the bigger part of your trade. Let it prove you correct. Get some of that protective money in between you and loss before you're putting on the big trade. Now, the next indicator for EOS is the MACD indicator, and on the 12-hour time frame, it's giving me the same not so good feeling here that it's easing off. I got to go back out to the day just to give me something to confirm my bullish bias, and this is coming over to cross. So this puts a big wet blanket on everything I'm looking for, in that this may not go up straight away. It's not looking like it here. Now on the 4-hour time frame, it's looking a little different. I like it's not bad, but it's been coming down and coming down as we've been higher and higher. And even as, you know, it hasn't turned around to give me a bullish feel out of these two bottoms. I was expecting that this would be making pattern this shape. As these bottoms were making the lower lows, I was wanting to see a positive divergence here, and I'm not seeing it. So I'm stretching it to try to pull a bullish view out of this. Makes it a little bit more difficult to be putting on a small bit of a position here, because we've got the lower lows yet and the lower highs. And so that's not a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that I want to get into. I want to have a 1, 2, 3 for one thing, right? I want to have a 1 and then a 3, and then prices break above it. I want to have lower and a retest of that low before I'm getting in. So even though I may be painting out long-term projections of where this may go, right at this minute, it's not setting up. So let's see if Ichimoku Cloud is going to kick my ass on this one. And I love it when it does. It is above the cloud on the 12-hour time frame. It would say, sit still, you're good, just relax. And if we zoom in now to the 4-hour time frame, it has gone below the cloud a little bit. The others are touching the cloud and maybe are trend continuations, but this has a lot more work to do to get back up above here and build some structure to give my confidence in it now on the 4-hour time frame. So Bitcoin Cash is winning so far out of this. And I've always been sort of poo-hoo on Bitcoin Cash, a fork of a fork. That was but I don't care. The chart pattern says it. There's where the profit is. 1-hour time frame, not looking so good. How about the 15-minute time frame? Oh, all right. So the 15-minute could be the leader if it continues to break out above these levels. And if it does, then that'll start to change the flavor of all of the other indicators, because when I start getting into this time frame, then I do see a tiny little 1, 2, 3 formation here. It came back and retested the number 2 point and broke out higher above important support and resistance. So it is starting to build the stages of structure. It is building the stages of structure, and we'll tune in on this tomorrow and see how it actually turns out. Let's go on now to Ethereum. And before I get to Ethereum, I want to stop and say thank you to Gunbot University Wally for being a patron sponsor. And actually, you're also the stream boss here for tipping with the super chat. If you guys want to knock some points off of Gunbot University Wally, you can subscribe to the channel and it knocks off a couple points off of him. I'd like to say thank you to Chris, Crypto Street, Julian, Carl, Patrick, Philip, Test, and Usman, who are also patron supporters over on our Patreon channel. You guys make this possible for everybody else who's watching, and I want to say thank you. Ethereum Technical Analysis. Start off with a 12-month view. It feels like it's ready to pull back. The relative strength index is really quite overbought here. Pardon me. Very overbought on the 12-hour time frame. Now, if I get into the 4-hour time frame, it's actually giving me a 1, 2, 3 top formation now, and the RSI is diverging, which isn't too bad. The RSI can come back and then prices break off. The RSI comes back and then prices take off. It's often where the RSI has come back that the prices are just about to break off and take off, actually. So now that we have the RSI coming back, it's not necessarily a divergence that's negative, but that we have a 1, 2, 3 top while the RSI is diverging. I want to pay more attention to that top formation. That if it's breaking below these levels, I want to pay attention to it. Especially that we have lower highs going on in this one, the same as EOS. The lower highs continuing and the lower lows here could be a bull flag. And I want to know. I want to map this out. I want to see what this is doing. And then I find out later it's a bull flag and I thought it was a top formation. This is important study. What time frame? 4-hour time frame. Let's zoom in. On the 1-hour time frame, not much new news here. So I want to go on to the next indicator. Clear this one off to start off with. And then let's go on to the unbalanced volume for Ethereum on the 12-hour time frame. Clear off the crap. Lots of it, like lots of volume, huge. But the better volume from what we've been seeing here. It's easing off, but there's still lots of volume, lots of good positive volume. Going to the 4-hour time frame, good volume, almost pathetic volume. So that sort of supports the 1, 2, 3 top formation idea here. If the volume starts to turn negative, maybe Ethereum is going to be following Bitcoin down instead of going up against Bitcoin. Let's go into the 1-week view. A little bit of buying volume going here. So if it's breaking above these levels and we see this volume picking up, we should also see the RSI picking up off that mid-level. That'll confirm it. Now for the big honcho, the MACD indicator. Here on the 12-hour time frame, it's also crossing negative. What's that, 3 for 4? Oh, we didn't look at ADA in the 12-hour time frame. It could be 4 for 4. Of course, I have to go and look at ADA in the time frame. Sure, 4 for 4. That all of them are crossing on the 12-hour time frame. And I was expecting much more bullish action. This wobbling is okay. This is normal. It's okay in the uptrend. That's normal. The 4-hour MACD should be doing this. So that's okay. But that the 12 hours crossed negative is not so good, especially with this turning or crossing negative right at the number 1 of the number 1, 2, 3 top formation. I've seen that manifest out before. Crossed positive a little bit, but it's crossed negative here. So I'm just not really happy about this. Right off the bat, I couldn't see it as a good start off coin and of getting verified as we go into this. So that's pretty cool. On the 15-minute time frame, this has the chance to save it if this crosses positive, and it also then drags the 1-hour time frame to cross back positive. Maybe this could go up from here, but so far it's looking down from here, and I don't know how much. Probably not a great deal. Let's go into the 12-hour time frame of Ethereum. And if it is coming back, there, look at that, the 50% level right at perfect support and resistance level. That would be that would be ideal, because of course, you know what I'm looking for. That's my nitro corner right there. If it comes back to a range like that, then I can take an action on this. That's a pretty wide range. No, not bad. So if it took its time to come back down there, that would be even better. If it took some time to get down there, right against this cloud, that'll be cool to see how that turns out over time. Let's go in now to closer time frames. So the 4 hour is looking better than all of the other charts. This is still away from the cloud and not hitting it. The 1 hour, it's down below the cloud. The cloud is negative. The only thing that isn't negative is, well, there's two things. This is cut through one of the indicators. The blue is above the red. But should the blue cross below the red and this start to, it'll confirm all sorts of sell signals. And again, if it gets up above this bit of the cloud here and the blue stays above the red, we're good, because the trailing indicator will start cutting up positive. So I like this. We've got a few different things that are saying negative, but we also have some indicators that give us really clear criteria as to what to do if it's going above or below. We're into some really clear ranges here on these markets. Now the next one is Litecoin. Clear this off. Head to the 12-hour time frame. I like it, but it's not giving me a super strong bullish divergence that I was expecting to see. I like the crossover. I like the chart pattern. But again, like Ethereum, it really could come back and it wouldn't be a problem. In fact, the RSI would probably agree with that. So on the 12-hour, anything across these mid levels is bearish. If it bounces off of that, like we saw in ADA, then that's okay. And it's supporting this change and the formation going up from here. Some nice clear levels to see on this. Going to the 4-hour time frame. Here again, I'm kind of seeing this as the springboard setup in the RSI. I don't know if that's what it is at all, but it seems that every time the RSI has a downtrend and that downtrend is broken, that's usually when the prices give a bit of a spring. And so to have this come back to these levels isn't bad. In fact, it's probably pretty clear if it breaks down below these levels, then it's bearish. I don't think that was this bearish when we first started the stream. Let me clear this off. Give me a straight line. It's breaking that straight line as we're talking. So there we go. And I know that, let's just skip ahead. Litecoin. 12-hour time frame. It has crossed. So all of these things are probably going to be pulling back. As much as I want to be bullish on them, they're looking like they're going to be pulling back. This is crossing to the negative, and we can see it. Like we see this setting up already in this little 1, 2, 3 top formation here that we were identifying yesterday's stream. Very good. And now to see it unfolding is education in real time. 1-hour time frame. Let me clear this off so that we can see it. It crossed looking positive out of this, and it was a 1, 2, 3, and it was looking great. You got to get your stop loss just above your entry as soon as you put it in to protect yourself. So if you were in earlier, your stop would still be just above your entry. There's not a lot of room in this. But now that it's crossed negative like that, it really wakes up the whole thing. When I go back out to the 4-hour time frame, it was crossing positive here, and it is crossed negative now as we're dumping. Let's go in. So Litecoin is doing its own thing. That's the 1-hour bar. Let's go to the 5-minute bar on these. So Litecoin is the first to be dumping. Stands to reason that the others may follow. Let's go in and do those MACD on them. And let's do the Ichimoku cloud. We're still on Litecoin Technical Analysis. That's pretty clear. So this was coming into the cloud. It was negative. We had a little 1, 2, 3 top formation. It retested the top formation and failed. It came up and retested those levels again and failed. And it was giving us a bearish indicator as the prices were coming up here. All of these bearish indicators were there. The MACD was telling us bearish. All of these indicators are giving us that early indication that this was a bearish setup right here. And I wasn't expecting it. Well, I was wanting it to go higher. But it's okay for it to come back. I own some of these coins, but I'm not leveraged long on them, so it's perfect for my positions. Let's continue on and grab these last couple coins here. TRX. Tron Technical Analysis. Hey, Ranj J, good to see you. I'm glad to have you along this channel. Mr. Jake the Snake, thank you for the great work. Thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here. There are tons of really awesome cryptocurrency trading channels online. I don't watch a lot of them. I really am focused on taking my trading plan and making it work for me. I know it works. How well can I work it is always the question. Sometimes I work it awesome. Other times I'm not working it as well. So this is making the potential top formation as well. And here we see the divergence on the 4-hour RSI. Let's go to the longer term RSI, showing a little divergence as well. And here's that trend line break. It works as well on the downside as on the upside. That if prices are coming up to a potential breakout and the RSI breaks, down we go, pissing off the roof formation. Here we are, pissing off the roof, and this could come back to the 50% level, which is a pretty significant percentage move. So Bitcoin dominance, what are you doing? Let's go to the 15-minute chart. This takes a second to load up. We'll come back to it. So TRX, even though I made those long-term painted candles of it going up to the 50% level and sort of marked those out, of course, it's got to finish these bottom formations and behave well all the way up there for that to occur. I want to go into Tron volume. All pretty good here. So that we're pulling back a little bit is not that concerning. If we had gotten in on the cross of the 12-hour exponential moving average, then we don't want to get out until the cross of the 4-hour exponential moving average. And so it gives us a little bit of time. It gets us in so that now we have to pay attention to this top formation, and a breach below this is time to reevaluate. With Bitcoin going down and these breaking, what is Bitcoin dominance doing? Loading. Let's go on to TRX on the MACD. This is my God chart, and that is crossing negative. So these are top formations. This is all coming down. These are all confirming to be the same thing, top formations from where we are. So my long-term projections are longer term. They are pushed out to further to the future as these cross, and we're hitting these levels on all of these coins, Litecoin being the leader, breaking first as we saw here. Now all of these are confirming, so it makes it easier to do my projections. Oh, I think they're all going down. But now I like to document exactly what was happening when they were going down so that we can go against other coins and say, okay, what's going on here? Are you going down too? And we can make some correlations now and into the future. And you know what? I was a karate instructor for more than 20 years. And I know that every time you take a lesson in karate, it doesn't mean that you actually know that lesson's content. I would go and train with a master, and he's teaching us different things about a sidekick. And I would pick up new things on sidekick. And then I would go back home and train. And without him reminding me of those things, I quickly lost the skill of those things he taught. So it's a matter of repetition and repetition to know these things and then to repeat them until they're habitual, that you don't even think about them. Then you do your sidekick and it's done correctly, and you We're unaware of most of the movements of it. It's the same thing with trading correctly. This 1, 2, 3 top formation should become habitual, that you're just reaching for your chart to close your long position on this. Or you're reaching for your chart and say, geez, I want to scalp a tiny little short and see if I can get 5% gain out of it, because I see these chart patterns, I see what it's going to be doing. But for my own part, I don't want to try to scalp those little bits. For me, I'm just now watching for it to make the proper 1, 2, 3 for me to actually do something where I could be lazy, get my stop loss above my entry, and then the market keeps going. Then there's nothing for me to do. Those are the best trades. So I'm looking for, I work as hard as I can to work as little as possible, which of course leaves you working as hard as you can for the rest of your life. It's the Robinson Crusoe story. When he got stranded on the deserted island and he realized he would be there for the rest of his life, he decided one day he was going to work as hard as he could to make his life as easy as possible. And as it turns out, for the rest of his life, he just worked as hard as he could, because there's always something else to do to make your life more easy. And so you're always working at something. This is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that isn't looking as shitty as the others right now for Ripple. Litecoin and Ethereum made a bigger gain, so they're pulling back. But Ripple already pulled back into its pocket, it seems to me. I like this formation better, sort of like Bitcoin Cash. Let's zoom in. I'm cheating if I just go on past here, because I don't want to miss this view. I don't want to miss this view of the RSI and this view of the RSI and this view of the RSI breaking this pattern right there. So for me, this is setting up into my nitro corner. If it would just come back and double check on that level, I would like it a lot better. And I'd be a lot more friends with it, because the last time it did the major takeoff that went to the moon and beyond, I was orbiting Saturn, I think it was. I wasn't there for it because it took off so fast that I couldn't trade it. It didn't match the 1, 2, 3 bottom formations here. They were so small and so fast, it got away from me. And then I'm not touching it because it's already gone, and it just kept going. And this one too, it happened so quickly that if I wasn't already long at the time, I wouldn't have been able to trade that. So I like that this is setting up into a better bottom formation setup here, that we can start staging in a little bit of a position. And if it continues doing a trend, it's likely going to trend for some months and months and months of time. Those are my most favorite trades. Get into it and do a whole bunch of nothing. Ripple volume, 3-month view. Pretty good. And nicer than the others, that it's got some juice here at the end. Nice. It's got a bit of dumping here. So this corrected sooner than everything else. That it's stopping up here now. It is a 1, 2, 3 top. It is a sell signal in the downtrend, maybe in the Ichimokus. Better volume on this. Now let's go in and see. Did I switch the scene? No, failed. Let's go in and see. This is newer on this very close up time frame. It is dumping at the same time as Litecoin is. So in the 3-month time frame, it's already crossed negative here. So they're all crossing negative there. This has got a bit more juice in that it has come back and crossed positive on the 4-hour time frame. What is the 1 hour? The 1 hour is looking good out of this range, but if it starts to cross negative and we're coming back, we could have more sideways. It's not giving us the buy signal. Not giving us a buy signal. This would have to catch itself as it's falling here and catch, and this would cross over and go positive on the 15-minute time frame, maybe. So there's no buy signal here. I wouldn't jump on a short signal out of it. That could be a good idea. It is 1, 2, 3. It is failing off of these levels. That is a sell signal. But I'm not going to do it because the range of the price movement that I'm expecting is too small. I'm wanting to go with the trend, not fight against it in this instance. So here, let's go into the 12-hour view. The Ichimoku cloud is our friend. It's all looking good for Ripple. Happy days. In the 4-hour time frame, not as happy. I was expecting better, actually. So this is already showing us negative, negative, cutting through everything negative. So if it starts to fade down below this, I'm not getting juicy about this one for a while. In fact, probably coming down into some stagnant price levels. I'd have to go back and look at Bitcoin Cash now because I was much more bullish on that. But it's likely going to fail off from where it is too if these are all failing off. The 1 hour time frame, so it already gave us the sell signal really nicely out of this formation. Look, we got this 1, 2, 3 top, broke this crazy up trend line, not a reason to get out. But as it's breaking the next level, right, retested these levels here, gave us a head and shoulders top and said, oh, it's struggling, and broke below those levels. These are all sell signals in a downtrend. Every one of these, as it's failing, it's a sell signal under it. So that it's failing now and Litecoin's failing as it is, I didn't start this stream expecting to find that these would be pulling back. I was expecting structure for it all to be moving up as Bitcoin is easing back, and that Bitcoin dominance, which isn't loading, Bitcoin dominance would be showing us something. And it's floating pretty sideways-ish. So that the alts are making a big move and this isn't, it's kind of curious. Wrong chart. This is looking at Bitcoin longs versus Bitcoin shorts. And I still think we have way too many Bitcoin longs and that Bitcoin is going to be going on a deep dive. I'm short and I have my stop loss below my level, my entry level, and I'm just hanging out now, see what goes on with it. Oh, okay, I see. Now, let me go on back to the channel. You are one of the best. I appreciate that, Mr. Jake the Snake. I think my presentation is boring. I think in the past it's been much more boring as we were going in this 18-month downtrend in the altcoins, and I'm doing live streams on the price of altcoins. It was getting pretty discouraging, actually. So now that we're setting up into these formations, it's a hell of a lot more fun. Especially to watch my account going up in value rather than going down in value. So those are all good turnarounds. If you have any other coins you'd like me to take a look at, let me know. So if you're a regular to the stream, I appreciate you being here. If you're new to the stream and you haven't yet, click on the subscribe button. It would actually be a perfect live test to be sure that the Streamlabs stuff I have set up is working. It should do a live animation on the screen. Let's go back to Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin. That's bearish. That's a bearish chart, and I wonder why the price of Bitcoin is coming up off that bottom level, this divergence that much. So Bitcoin, I did the live stream this morning and went through a pretty bearish view of this whole thing as well. Going through all of these indicators, I was expecting this afternoon that I was going to come in and see all of the alts with a whole bunch of bullish turnaround stuff going on, with Bitcoin going softer. I wasn't expecting to come in and see all of those 12-hour MACDs crossing negative. I wasn't expecting to see quite the negative view that we're seeing in the alts right now. I was anticipating that we are in these massive bottom formations and that we're going to be seeing a really big and slow turnaround, and maybe we will. But it could also be the time that the alts and Bitcoin all go down and stablecoin is the only place to be, which would screw me because I'm not doing that. So there we are, looking at what's coming up in these charts. I do expect that we're going to see these break down below these levels, and people may get alarmed about it, but I wouldn't. The alarming thing is that we could go sideways for months more. The alarming thing is that this is a choppy market and not a trending market. And so the best way to get into this is to buy at the bottoms and be selling as it's coming up to these tops. And then buy at the bottom and be selling as it's coming up to these tops. Maybe even selling as it comes under these tops and then buying. You know, but trading to stay within this range, assuming the range trader is going to kick my ass in this because I'm assuming it's going on a trend. And if the range trader assumed that it was going to stay in this range and fight in these areas for the next few months, he would kick my ass. He would have tons of profit through this. You know, some bot that did wicked small ranges, they would be profiting and laughing to the bank while I'm still waiting for the breakout. So there are different ways to approach this, and you need to know the flavor of the pie that you're cooking to know that if you should have a turkey pot pie or an apple pie. You know, they're quite different. Now, I haven't done, maybe I didn't bring this up at the beginning of the session, but we do have an altcoin alert package that is doing phenomenal right now. It's catching all of these bottom formations, and it is getting ready for those long-term trends. So if you would like to find our service and see what we're doing with all these bottom formations across everything, across all of Binance, across all of Poloniex as well, I think our trading signals system kicks ass in the way it covers all of the markets and gives you a really good bird's eye view using the color-coded spreadsheet in the bull market watch, and then zooming into really specifics where we give you the entry price, the type of trade style it is, so you know which kind of cake that you're baking. We give you the screenshots, and then we track it all the way through and give you signals on when to get out of these markets. It's a phenomenal system and setup, and I am looking right now for the September Patreon Bull Market Watch spreadsheet, which as an alert subscriber, you get access to this as well as the active alerts that are sent to you or sent to our Discord chat. Here we can see the bullishness and bearishness index of the overall market, because I wanted to be sure that it really was a bull market and not a fake out breakout market. I wanted a way to know it for sure. And the only way is to grade all of the markets and then do an average of the entire market. Now I know if it's a bullish market or not, and I don't have to make it up or decide or think about it. It's actual empirical evidence right here in front of us. And it may not make much sense to you until you get to know the color coding, but I can show you a little bit more brief. The power of this spreadsheet is that it shows you specifically which coins are in each stage of the trade. And here we can see some really good insight where I took out and I just have the alerts versus the hold status here. In the last two bits of runs here from July the 10th is when this starts. We had a run up where we had a bunch of alerts, but no hold coins. Then we had another run up that was looking all so good. We had a bunch of them go into alert status, but very few went into hold status. Now we have a very different bull market. We have a whole bunch gone into alert status, but a whole army have gone into hold and alert status here too. So we've got 42 of the Binance coins that are front runners that are already in hold status. Those are where the profits are right now. There's, of course, that tells us that we have 42 that are in hold status, 40 odd that are in alert status, but there are another 49 that are neutral, not worth getting into yet, and there are another 22 that are nearly failing down to new lows. There's 6 markets that are actually failing to brand new lows right now. So there's a definite split. There's a class category of lower class coins and top class coins. and being able to know which class of coins you're in so that you're not holding ones that are not doing anything, but you're only getting into those ones that are actually proven to move and break out of those patterns. It is gold. It is phenomenal. So I'm hoping that there's a few of you interested in this. Check out the links to in the description below. You can find out more about the alerts package and everything that goes along with it. Much more detail than we can go over here. Much more real-time information as things are happening. So you don't have to suffer through an hour and a bit of a live stream to get the data. You can just get it. The link for it is down in the description below the video. Be sure to go to the website if you haven't already. Go to the homepage and put your email address in. You'll get a copy of it's general copy of the trading plan. And it really, if you study and you do your homework, this will give you the complete trading system. All 5 stages of the trade so that you can know when to get in, when to get out, how to position size. It's all there. And I want you to have it. I want you to have these successes so that you come back and you're telling me that this worked for you. This made a difference in your life. It may be years of practice before this actually manifests into the wealth that you're looking for, but it's absolutely worth it. If you knew that you wanted to be a black belt, you'd be willing to put in 3 nights a week of 90 minutes of sweat for 3 years before you knew that you were going to get your black belt. And then it's great to have your black belt, but it's much better to have your black belt at trading where you get unlimited income potential. So if I can help you achieve that, I change your life, I change your family's life, I change all of your friends' lives. It's a positive thing I can do forward for the people who have helped me, because many of the people I learned from, they're dead. I can't help them. I can't thank them even. The only thing I can do is pay it forward in a way that is going to be a benefit for me too, to go through this stuff and to log it all like this. I do come back and watch these videos on specific days so that I can say, what the hell was I thinking? Why was I such a, my opinion was so different than my charts, and I overruled the charts with my opinion. You only need to learn that lesson a couple times. And so that'll wrap it up. I am tickled pink to have you guys here. Thanks again for showing up. If there's anything you would like to see different in this stream, better, different, changed, cut out, improved, I want to hear it. I want to make this into a stream that is awesome for you. Let me wrap it up now. And I will see you over on our Discord chat. Oh, here's our bull market watch screen for going over details on the bull market watch. That'll wrap it up here for today. I hope to see you guys over on our Discord chat. You can support the channel by becoming a Patreon supporter. You can get the alerts subscription for, well, there's different prices for it, but it's, I don't know, $100 will give you much better returns than the cost. Cheers, everyone. I will sign off and wish you well in all of your trading. We'll see you tomorrow looking for your success stories. Bye for now.